Brothers, would you even consider a duo a fellowship?
See, I was thinking trio and more. That's my fellowship. Because
wait, so we're not a fellowship? You guys over there are what?
However,
4 together are though. So.
All 4 of us can be a fellowship.
Yeah.
Welcome, readers,
reviewers,
and countrymen.
Lend us your ears, because we have some very special guests today. We have the brothers Gwynne here. Ed and Will, welcome to the Tutor Ramble podcast.
Oh, thank you so much for having us on here. So yeah, this is my brother Ed and I am Will. And yeah, what an intro. What an intro. Stunning. Loved it. Maybe we need to finish that.
We came up with it ourselves. We've actually trademarked it, so if you guys ever use it on another video, we expect royalties.
Readers review as thieves. Yeah. Okay.
We're embracing our inner British and just taking a little something from you guys.
That is right.
Isn't it?
Now, on this Tutor Ramble episode, we are talking with the lovely brothers Gwynne. We're going to go over, each one of us has planned a favorite trope of ours we're going to discuss, and then one of our least favorites. And it's just going to be a general trope talk, have some fun, see what it is, and I'm going to cut right through it and begin with whichever one of you wants to go first. What's one of your favorite tropes of all time?
How about you kick it off, Ed? Well, my favorite has to be the fellowship trope, even when it's subverted as well, and it's kind of a gang of misfits. I just always love a group of people either squabbling or, getting along, really. I don't mind. But as long as there's a gang of them, then I'm happy.
That was my number 2. I'm so glad because we didn't tell each other beforehand which one we picked. That was my backup in case you guys picked my main one.
Nice.
I'm so glad you said fellowships. And what are some of your favorite ones with fellowship other than like Lord of the Rings?
I mean, I love the kind of subverted trope of, go with the Blade itself and the First Law series. That fellowship is probably my favorite I've read. Oh, Kings of the Wild, that is a great band there. I love them getting together. Oh, yeah. It's so funny. And yeah, just those guys. Obviously, fellowship. Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I love it when they're all they all like each other, which is good. But yeah, in Grimdark as well. That's probably my favorite. There's a bit of sarcasm. And they just don't like each other, and that usually I just enjoy that probably a lot more. Oh yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, in Grimdark, the fellowship typically even when they're disagree or they kind of butt heads all the time, they're normally like so skilled at what they do that they kind of need each other. And there's that kind of level of respect of like, man, I don't like this guy, but I really need him. He's good at what he does.
Begrudging respect. Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. But it always makes those fellowships far more fun because it's more of a fellowship of necessity.
Yeah. They got to stick together, or they're just going to die. And Michael Fletcher's written a really good grimdark series, and the first book's called Beyond Redemption, and it's a group of 3, isn't it? It's 3 people, and they absolutely hate each other. Like no one could hate each other anymore. They all, like you say, they need each other. And it's just absolutely hilarious, just like listening to their quips and their backstabbing remarks. But then by the end, they're like, "Yeah, he's pretty decent with the sword." Yeah. So and their narratives in their head, they're always just planning how to kill the others, and then they just don't follow through.
Oh, that's great.
The end is like, "Oh, but I need them for a little bit longer."
I'm going to have to say at the end of the podcast as well, if you guys could rattle off for some of our viewers a bunch of recommendations, because you guys, we've seen your stuff. And by the way, if you guys are watching the video, go subscribe to Brothers Gwynne. Great channel. But they're the second best duo on YouTube, actually.
I know.
I am certified.
But please, send a bunch of recommendations at the end to some rattle off at the end, because we are way less read. And I'm curious, with the fellowship trope, has it ever been done poorly? Because I have not read a book or maybe even seen a movie where I've not enjoyed a band of people going together.
Do you know, I can't think of anything where I'm like, oh, that doesn't gel well. Scan my book we have to look at our books now. I think
right. I'm about to look. Actually, ooh.
Oh, you have one?
Well, I can definitely name some where the fellowship is just not the best part, where it's definitely one of the weaker elements.
Okay.
So I would say like Lacanus trilogy has a sort of trio fellowship that I just don't like. It's just
fine.
It's there, but it's not done particularly well. It's not a focus.
Yeah.
And
you love the book for other reasons.
Exactly. Yeah. Where something like Kings of the Wild just does it so expertly that I can't. It's if I'm comparing it things like to the Kings of the Wild or John Gwen's, you know, the the Bloodborne saga, and I loved the
like some guy.
I won't get into spoilers, but the main fellowship in there I really enjoyed. Actually, there's one fellowship in there that I really enjoyed, and one I didn't. But I think you're supposed to dislike them not as much. So, but that's beside the point. But yeah, there's a couple of them that just doesn't work as well. But
it's hard to think of, though. The fellowship trope is very safe. Have you either of you read or seen a bad fellowship?
No, I think I kind of agree with you. There's like when it stands out, it's fantastic and it's really memorable. But there's not really anywhere I think, oh, that was a terrible fellowship. That's kind of the thing dragging the story down. And look at my bookshelves.
What would it have to be? What would it have to be to actually be a bad fellowship? What would it take?
You don't like the characters?
If it felt very forced, maybe like it. Maybe Grimdark was saying kind of those tensions. If it felt forced, I think that could drag it down a bit.
Maybe when like a fellowship that shouldn't get along together and they don't show any reason why they do. Something like where they clearly butt heads and they don't like each other, and yet for some reason they're still together.
Yeah, it doesn't feel. Yeah, they definitely need a big reason to actually be together. Or if all the characters are too similar, you know, obviously when you've got a band, they all need to have their different roles, don't they? You know, you couldn't have Legolas not in the Fellowship, could you? So that maybe if their roles were too similar, you wouldn't enjoy reading that too much.
Good point.
Actually, that gives me a thought of a Fellowship done poorly. Is actually in Star Wars, the sequel trilogy. And the specific reason why is because typically in a Fellowship, the best kinds is each character kind of has their own role to play in the group. Yeah. And they all contribute something. Where we start off with The Force Awakens, and Rey is kind of like... Rey takes so many different roles away from the two Fellowship leads. So she can fight better. The fighter pilot aspect takes that kind of from Han, and eventually... from what's his name?
Poe. Is that Finn? Yeah.
But you know how Finn brings forth like the stormtrooper knowledge and the fighting capability of all this, but then Rey kind of surpasses that, and then is a better mechanic and is a better
I see that. Yeah.
Basically overshadows every member of the Fellowship that is in the group. And so I think that would be example of a bad Fellowship is when characters are deprived of their role, where they feel redundant.
Okay, that was intelligent.
Yeah,
that's nice.
It could be like mixing a chosen one with the Fellowship. You know, the chosen one, like you say, surpasses everyone else, but then the Fellowship sometimes might not be needed. But yeah,
well, that's the thing is, just because they're the chosen one, that's kind of like a role. But as long as the Fellowship like has their own support role, where they do something particularly well, even better than the chosen one, then it's all fine.
Would we, for example, if we're using the Fellowship trope as a really broad term, do we consider Harry Potter a Fellowship of Harry? Like even the trio, or Percy Jackson, because you have Percy, Annabeth. I mean, you have Harry, Ron, and Hermione. That's a Fellowship, right?
Typically, a Fellowship would be a group of characters that get together to at least at the start for like a common reason of some kind of causes a group of strangers to come together.
Right.
And that's like the forming of a Fellowship. So Ron, Hermione, and Harry, I think, would be qualified as a Fellowship.
Brothers, would you even consider a duo a Fellowship?
See, I was thinking trio and more. That's my Fellowship, because...
Wait, so we're not a Fellowship? You guys over there are what?
However...
4 together, are they? So...
all 4 of us can be a Fellowship.
Yes. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I did Pirates again. I always say the Pirate song when I'm trying to sing Lord of the Rings. It's so similar. Okay, Ed, that's a great... I'm so glad you picked my second favorite. But that Fellowship's amazing. Will, can you top that? Can you top your brothers?
Well,
and what is your favorite?
Topping, but I think another one that has such great potential, because as with all these tropes, they can be done poorly or brilliantly. I think Coming of Age, I think it has such just the potential of investing you in a character, because there's just something different when you've seen kind of the trials and tribulations and their growth as a child in their formative years to who they are as an adult, and you see as they're now facing these challenges as a very different person. It's just the emotional impact. It just hits in such a different way.
I do really like. I think my favorite story, my favorite series, an aspect of it is the coming of age aspect of the Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
For me, that's one of the best aspects of the entire series, and definitely leads to the most grating beginning. Like, it's hard. It's especially done really well. It starts in a place of just innocence and naivete.
Naivete.
Naivete. I don't know how to say the word properly. It's fine.
Me either. I just kind of BS'd it.
But it's so grating in the beginning because they're so ignorant. But that's kind of the point. Mm-hmm. But then it makes it all the more satisfying when they actually do come into their own.
Oh, yeah, I love coming of age, and coming of age in film, TV, and books. Like, it always feels just, you have that growth with the character, don't you? Especially when you like the character. I mean, that's a necessity. You have to like them, don't you?
Yeah.
And then you see what they've been through their childhood. Usually they go through some quite harrowing things, because we just like to read about swords and war.
Yeah, exactly. And tragedy.
Yeah.
Just
I love a bit of tragedy.
Thousandfold. Yeah. But I think with coming of age, I don't think books fall into as much of the traps, but maybe films and programs, they rush kind of the actual coming of age bit a bit too quickly. So then they're trying to get that emotional investment crammed in and then jump in. But in a book, obviously, you've got the luxury of spending more time with the character. And so I think it is a trope that really works well in the book form.
Yes.
Do you think it has just an element of tragedy when a coming of age story, just almost by its necessity, you see this normally a dramatic loss of innocence?
Yeah, 100%, because I don't think I've ever read a happy book. Especially in the fantasy genre. There's no such thing as a happy book, really. Like Kings of the Wild, you laugh a lot, but then there's a lot of tragedy as well. And yeah, so it definitely is, because they have to go through these tribulations that tie them into kind of the main arc of the story, that give them a drive and purpose. And it's not usually to make more friends. It's usually to kill or self-preservation or along those lines. And so, yeah, as you said, I think you just hit the nail on the head there. The loss of innocence and kind of that naivety being stripped away. And it often just feels very tragic when you see how someone has changed so much, and they're pretty hard on the exterior now, when they were such a nice, happy person in the first book, at the beginning of the story.
I'm always reminded of like Frodo and Sam. It's one of the especially in the books when Frodo is, where you see Frodo and from the start of being the older of the hobbits. Spoilers, I guess, by the way, for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
I guess. But you see how he is a little bit, he's not as young as the other hobbits, but something that really got me in the books was when he threatened Gollum with the ring, of like, Gollum, you're still pining after the ring, and if you try so again, I will command you by the power of the ring to cast yourself into the fire. And just like, do not make the mistake. And then you see Sam kind of have this different appreciation for Frodo, where everyone sees him as naive because of how kind he is. And it's just, no, he's kind, but not naive.
Yeah.
He's actually willing to be a little bit hard. And he has this kind of wisdom about him. And it's kind of sad to see this hobbit so hardened.
Yeah.
And how nice and kind he is, and how he's forced to have this edge that the other hobbits don't really have to have.
Exactly, yeah, because whilst it's obviously you're not seeing them as children, you're still seeing this, as you said before, that loss of innocence. And it does feel like they grow up so much, especially like Merry and Pippin, who think they're going to have a lovely adventure, basically, and they're tied by that bond of friendship at the core. But yeah, exactly as you said, and at Sam's different outlook and how they see different aspects of the people who they think they know better than anyone else in the world.
Yes, and you guys already labeled a ton of books that have the coming of age trope that is phenomenal. I do want to say the one biggest exception movie-wise that might do it better than any book, Sing Street. It's just freaking awesome. If you guys
love that movie.
Love that movie so much. Have to shout it out if we're talking coming of age. It's so good.
I haven't seen it. Have you?
No, I don't think I have.
It's a British. It's Irish, I think. It's Irish.
Let's not offend.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes. I was thinking of the cartoon. Is there a cartoon called Sing Street?
I don't know.
Wait, is Sing Street in
If you
Ireland
mean
where
the
they
Irish
form a
band?
Yeah, Drive It Like You Stole It.
It's brilliant. We have seen that.
I love
yes.
that movie. Good.
Yes, good. Okay.
Yeah, that movie is awesome.
We're about to end the podcast.
I love that your reason was like, we have to have watched it because it's a British film. I mean,
Riddle of the Model is one of the greatest films of all time.
Yeah.
I can't believe that movie didn't win any Oscars for original soundtrack.
I know, it's just very underrated.
It's such a good
criminal.
It's hilarious.
It is
so good.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, when I joined this chat, we were going to be talking about tropes. I did not think that we were going to be talking about Sing Street.
Hey, you never know what's coming here into a ramble, and especially this.
Like the name implies, we ramble a lot.
We ramble, and I'm very curious now, Richard. What is your favorite trope to throw out towards the brothers? And brothers, don't feel free to disagree. Feel free to say the trope's horrible because, trust me, Richard has some takes here. Let's see what it is.
Well, okay, my favorite trope is, I will specify, it's not the stoic badass, but the retired badass. The one that avoids fights, the one that is so against violence because he's just so good at it.
Yeah, it's great.
That is my favorite character. So I would say one of my favorite interpretations of that would be Logan Ninefingers from First Law Trilogy. That would be like one of the best examples of my favorite trope.
That's such a good one. That's such a good. It's such a good choice. Yeah.
So good. I really agree. It is fantastic. It's one of those that I think there is a bit of authors. I think have to be a bit careful if it's not too forced, but when it's done right, it can be so good.
Actually, another good example to bring out your father's work is Orca.
Yes, that's one thing. As soon as he said that, I was thinking of her. And it could be said that she has to get involved in some violence, to say the least.
Yeah. But I always love the reluctance and how everyone kind of looks at that character as, oh, they must be weak. They're trying to avoid violence, and just really discounts their wisdom and their experience. Yeah. And they just don't see the point in kind of explaining or proving themselves. Yeah. Because they're just so done. And it's just this. It's almost this defeatist attitude, but then when they actually come to blows, it's just so easy to them.
Yeah,
I love that trope. It's just always so much fun to see other people like discount them and then they just prove them wrong.
Definitely. I think my favorite has to be The Patriot with Mel Gibson. Like, I don't know if you think that, but his family think he kind of hides behind them, but he shies away from any sort of war to protect them, and then all of a sudden his hand is forced, and it is just done. He
makes a decision, and that is it.
Yeah, he goes all in, doesn't he? Yeah. But he's just.
Was that? Are you guys pandering to Americans here? Did you say The Patriot? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Actually, films. Yeah, we shouldn't enjoy that one, but yeah.
Another not fantasy book that does it really well is Norwegian by Night. Is a really good book that I really enjoyed. It's
what you said, Norwegian by Night.
Norwegian by Night.
Okay.
It's more of a mystery thriller type thing where there's this old Jewish man, World War II vet, that moves to Norway for his sake of his daughter, and basically he goes on the run from the police for circumstances, and he's like a 90-year-old man. And everyone kind of like discounts him, and he just constantly showing that everyone kind of thinks that, oh, maybe he lied about what he actually did in the service. Yeah. Like, oh, you were just this desk secretary. He's like, no, I was a sniper. And everyone doesn't believe him and just keeps underestimating him. And he just shows everyone, like, you don't mess with a vet. You don't mess with this World War II vet.
Yeah, that sounds
It's
great.
so good.
I think with that trope, it has the potential to have like one of the best scenes as well. The moment where the character has that turning point, that moment where they have to return to violence, it is so powerful because there's been this whole build up of they won't do it. You've got people disrespecting them, and authors obviously do it in slightly different ways. And it is one of those tropes that you can pin down to a moment, a turning point where everything changes, and they may be reluctant, but they're still going to do it. And yeah, so when I often think on books that have that trope, the scene where that happens usually just springs to my mind really vividly.
Well, the trope also lends to two specific scenes. Like, you don't just get the one scene like that, you actually get two. Like, you get the audience, so the reader's reaction, like the reader doesn't know that they're a badass, and so you get that surprise. And then once the reader knows they're a badass, you then get the second scene of the character in the story doesn't know the other character's a badass, and so you get their discovery. It's almost double dipping of that same surprise and same experience.
That's really cool. It's using that, was it dramatic irony of when one person's in on it, the other isn't. Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I haven't read First Law yet, but you told me Abercrombie does that quite a lot.
Oh yeah,
right? Where he lets you know something the characters don't, or vice versa. Some characters know things that other characters don't, and you're waiting to see that reveal in the following chapters.
That's the best. I think what makes Joe Abercrombie so good, and what I would think he's a master storyteller, is how he plays with character and reader knowledge. That sometimes characters know things the reader doesn't, and sometimes the reader knows things that the character doesn't, and you just kind of all juggling that, and it leads to so much tension and just surprise. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fantastic, the use of misinformation as well. And I think Abercrombie, especially in the sequel trilogy, where these new characters, they believe certain things, and kind of looking at the history, and they're just so wrong in so many ways. And you know the moment's going to come where they're going to realize this whole kind of vision of theirs is going to come crumbling down. And you're so right. You feel that tension building as you feel like you're getting closer to that moment.
Well, brothers, how would you rate Richard's retired badass? You approve? Any complaints?
Yeah, it's a
thumbs
great
up
one,
for me.
definitely.
Yeah, unfortunately, he picked a good one.
All right, now you have to top it.
Listen, I topped every single one of you with this one. Okay, I searched the web. I searched every story in my life and went.
You didn't search your soul. You searched the web.
I searched the web. It's not actually. I don't even think this. I just went with a poll online. So there were so many I was going through, and I'm gonna cheat here and say my special mentions: The Empire is Falling. That one, the Lost Civilization, that one, all these really cool world building ones, but the one that took the cake, I love characters the most. And every single story I ever looked at, I looked at all my favorites and went, why do I like this? Why do I like this? They all had this one thing in common. Redemption arcs. Or lack of redemption arcs. So the redemption as in, I'm talking, I'll do things that everybody knows. Obviously, you're Boromir. Someone like that. We even have a Boromir character up on our set over here. But even on TV, Zuko, Mad Max Nux. You have Severus Snape. You have your all-time best, and I won't say like any Stormlight Archives, but one of my favorite characters there. Everyone I could think of. And you have your Darth Vader has his redemption arc. Every good character that I get. There's obviously ones that don't fall under this, but I love a good story of where you see the person go through everything, and they've even done something evil. Actually evil in their past, and they're almost in. How do you redeem someone like that? And it's just such a, you kind of look at your own life and go, okay, I've done bad things, but not that bad. Like, this guy's irredeemable. And then them redeeming themselves also gives you of, I can look to my future. It just gives you that cathartic. It's cathartic of, man, if that person could redeem themselves, what can I do? It's that, and it's also to see it's some of the best character growths I've ever seen, and also when it's subverted and you think they're going to get redeemed. But I won't give spoilers to my favorite stories that do this. There's two in particular, but it would actually be like a big spoiler if I said what they were. So two of my favorite books have this where the character is getting on that redemption path, and and you see them on that cliff, they're just about to get there, and they die. And you just, all of what could have been, and now you're thinking of that, and you're going, oh my goodness, and it just hits me so hard. That's my favorite trope.
You know what I have to say? I hadn't even thought of that.
Good one.
It is a great one where, because you've got that investment again, don't you? And also that uncertainty of what's going to happen. As you said, are they going to redeem themselves? Are they going to have that like defining moment which will change how they're viewed? And as he said, that kind of relationship that you can have with yourself, that if they can redeem themselves, what does it mean for us? And I think books that are kind of, when I look at my favorite books and what elevates them above maybe the ones that I really enjoy but don't think about as much, it is that kind of ever-changing relationship that I can relate to myself.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, and I hope this isn't, I mean, everyone's seen Avatar: Last Airbender, right? So I'm trying not to get into big book spoilers, but Avatar, obviously, like with Zuko, something so simple. He's my favorite character. I mean, Iroh, okay, besides Iroh, you got your Zuko, you've got your I just everyone I've ever thought of, and Darth Vader, such an iconic villain who at the very end, it's not like one of the best on, it's just iconic though, and it's you know, it's very memorable. But Rich, do you have, the brothers are being very nice to me, so do you have anything? Do you agree that it's a good trope? Would you admit it?
Oh, I don't know. It's a little broad for me. I don't know if that really counts.
I knew it. But you like a good redemption,
that is actually really fair. That some of the best character work can be done through redemption, and I think in addendum to that, my favorite implementation of a character arc has been when the hero needs redemption. So when like the hero actually, in the course of trying to do good, does like evil things, and so it's kind of corrupted along their path, and they have to redeem themselves back to being a hero.
It's like that ethos, like the greater good, isn't it?
For the greater good.
Right.
I think my favorite redemption arc has to be Red Dead Redemption 2. I mean, the clue is in the name, isn't it?
Red Dead Redemption.
That's very true. Oh god, that was a great game.
Yeah, so
I've never played, but should I play? Is it that good? Is it?
It's an amazing game. Yeah.
I mean, I think it might ruin all other games for you if you play it.
Oh no.
Okay.
I do cry. Yeah.
Yeah.
regularly.
Often.
I get so addicted to games, I have to stay away from them. I love games so much. My favorite game of all time was Minecraft. I love me some Minecraft.
And you haven't played in like well over a year.
No, it's like 6 years.
Yeah.
I have a spurt where I'll play for like 2 days and do nothing else, but
Yeah.
like a once a year tradition. But man, I love Minecraft. Red Dead Redemption, I've heard nothing but great things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the reason why it's great is the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What, brothers, would you say the story's just really good?
I mean, as a bit of a horse and cowboy nerd, like I just ride around and wear different clothes and do different horses. I love that. Like the immersion for me is amazing. But yeah, you get behind this character and the story that he goes through, the arc and the redemption is just so sweet. It's done so perfectly, and it mixes my favorite trope as well of a gang. So what could be better?
Fellowship,
yes, that is true. Oh, okay. Let's see. Red Dead Redemption 2 has redemption. It has your fellowship.
Does it have your badass? Does it have coming of age?
It has your badass. I don't know if it has your reluctant retired badass.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's more like out front, and then
they're open.
It's kind of it's a known. He's a known badass, which is not the same.
Okay.
I mean, he's a bit reluctant, but he's not holding back.
Yeah. It has a lot though.
Oh, imagine we collect all 4 of our Infinity Stones here, all 4 of our favorite tropes into a story. If any commenter out there can think of a story that includes all 4 of these tropes, put it in the comments below, because I don't know if we can come up with one at the top of our heads. It's a lot to cover.
That would be a great thing to read though. I would enjoy that a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love
Imagine that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it would be the ultimate book.
A fellowship, coming of age, retired badass, redemption story.
All in.
I'll be honest, I think Wheel of Time has all of those.
I mean, it's 14 books, so fair enough.
But it has all those. Just saying.
That's fair. But it has every trope, probably.
It has most of them, yeah.
Okay. All right, that's enough gushiness. Are you guys ready to get down and dirty with our least favorite tropes?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's get mean.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's get mean.
Let's do it. And call off, if you feel free to call out authors too, if you just want to get, whatever. So,
again, ruin our chances of ever getting interviews.
Yes. Call out your dad if you want to. It's just Papa Gwynne. That's true.
Yeah, we do have to.
Now, Ed, you started last time with Fellowship. How about you go ahead, start off with what's one of your least favorite tropes ever?
I'm happy I get to go at the beginning because then none of you can steal it and I can say I had the idea all along. But
hey guys, little quick intermission here. We had some technical difficulties, but thankfully the Gwynne brothers graciously had their end recording, so we're gonna actually transition to their recording of the continued conversation. Be a little bit dipping quality from our end, but we spent all day working on a fix, so hopefully will not happen again.
Yes, so this is from phone quality. You will not see our visuals since our cam shut off mid-recording. We have the first half for you. Next half, you will see the brothers Gwynne, and you'll hear our audio, and you'll still have all of that. It is fixed. We spent all day. You could see we're recording much later. I don't know if you can tell us much later, but enjoy the footage and the rest. Brothers Gwynne, Here it is.
Let's say the Mary Sue, Gary Stu kind of character, where they're just perfect at everything. I mean, you know, I like people being good at things as much as the next man, unless the next man is Patrick Rothfuss. So, yeah.
Yeah. Wait, do you also hate Name of the Wind?
See, I don't hate it. As a child, I absolutely loved it. But when I read The Wise Man's Fear, this is at a period of my life when whenever I read anything, it was, you know, I would only say good things about it. And I read The Wise Man's Fear, and it really upset me. Just how good he was at everything. And it was just like, come on, I mean, as a teenager, for a teenager to be saying, is this realistic? Yeah. Obviously, it's a fantasy world, so how realistic should it be? But it just, that upset me.
That's too far.
Yeah.
The dragons are right, the made up world, the crazy magic. Yeah. That's fine. But not
I agree that for me, the story was just boring. Like, I disliked it so much because it's a Mary Stu, and I didn't like, there's no character I particularly liked.
Yeah.
None of them I wanted to follow. And then beyond that, it was just, I don't know how you make dragons boring.
It's a talent.
How do you do that? That's the only story where dragons are boring.
I'm scared to reread it because now, as I've grown as a reader, I don't know if I will. I think my teenage idolization of Name of the Wind will come
crashing down.
Yeah.
The one caveat to the book is it is written beautifully, and it has especially one scene that has stuck out to me all this time. It's written so well that I've never gotten that kind of emotional experience from a scene. And it's a scene writing about a musical performance.
Yeah.
And I think it's done better. Like, a lot of books have where they have like a poem and like, oh, they're singing in a tavern and all that. But Name of the Wind is actually able to somehow, in literary form, get you to feel like music is being played. That's never happened to me before. I don't think it's ever been repeated.
That's incredible praise, followed up by
my least favorite book.
Sounds like you enjoyed it, actually.
Like a backhanded compliment.
That's a great one. Mary Sue, can't complain there. No one likes a Mary Sue.
No.
I'd say maybe one, like Mary Sue, Gary Stu, one caveat being, I don't even know if this is considered, because there's a big caveat, but you're Superman, you're James Bond, you're kind of Paragorn character, which I guess they're a purposeful Mary Sue. I guess the worst ones are accident.
Mary Sue and Gary Stu are not necessarily there because they are powerful. It is a flaw of some. They have to have some type of flaw.
Yeah, Superman's his relationship.
Exactly.
Right? Where it's not just he's no flaws whatsoever. There's still a conflict.
Exactly. So if a character is physically powerful, they have some type of character flaw that makes it an issue. Or if the verse is a good character but has an external problem it has to overcome, but has to have some type of problem. A Gary Stu or Mary Sue has no character flaw and doesn't have really any external problems either.
Yeah, and I think Pierce Brown, he has that kind of character in book 1 of Red Rising, but as of Golden Sun, probably page 3, that is completely changed. So that's where I get behind Red Rising big time. Yeah,
I'm trying to think of the character. Which character?
Oh, don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Oh, I know. You're going to read it.
I'm actually reading Red Rising right now.
And then I think, have you read The Poppy War?
I have.
So I
didn't particularly like it.
Yeah, that's the main detracting factor for me, was that she goes to this school basically, and they trained since they were 4-year-olds, and she's kind of the odd one out. And then she does a martial arts competition, and just through using her intelligence, she manages to beat everyone. And it's just too much, and with all the academics of it as well, that she was just the best at everything, just all of a sudden.
Maybe we're just jealous at people who can fight and they're really clever. Yeah,
but it just felt, it's when it's unearned, isn't it? Like, when someone earns it, they grind for it. It feels so good when they finally get there. And I think book 2 was a bit better by not having as much of that, or I could kind of look past it. But yeah, that really upset me with book 1.
That's fair. I couldn't get behind it because I just didn't really care about the characters at all, and I didn't care to follow them.
Yeah.
But on paper, I mean, she does have character flaws, I think.
Yeah.
There's some serious, she's kind of messed up in the head. But yeah, I couldn't get into the book, unfortunately.
That's the thing. You got to have an attachment, don't you? And usually that comes in the form of the characters. 99% of the time. And if kind of an author kind of like with Grimdark, I think that like Joe Abercrombie does it in amazing ways where, as we were talking about before, the redemption arc, they can do terrible things, but you can still be rooting for this person. But yeah, I think the Poppy Wars I didn't feel that kind of attachment, or there was nothing I was rooting for. So when maybe a shocking event happened, I was like, oh, okay, well, it didn't go away or towards what I want from the story.
It's not all about you, Will. You can't choose what's written.
I'm sorry. I'm getting too self-obsessed with what I want from stories.
Well, hey, so Ed, I gotta say, you also picked my backup one for my least favorite as well.
No worries, similar taste.
Hey, if no one says, I gotta say it by the time it's my turn.
I know no one's gonna say my most negative.
Same. We're safe.
I'm a nitpicker.
Will, there's no way you're about to say it. I hope you do. Still will.
Yeah, I really don't think I will. Gone a bit obvious. I think the long lost royalty who they don't know they are the lost king or prince themselves. That I don't like. I really, because it just often it doesn't actually add anything to the story, and then it's just this huge revelation of, oh well, coincidentally this person who's been pivotal, the way we get an army or whatever we need to help actually win the main quest is, oh, you are the long lost king. Or something like that.
I'm assuming you don't have Tangled in your top 3 films.
Oh, the thing is, every trope can be done brilliantly, can't it? And that is an exception. That is.
I love Tangled.
It's so good. It is a very good film, and that's
great.
That's the thing.
Yeah, that trope. I didn't think it's not one of my least favorite, but I could totally see how it's just done poorly so often.
Yeah, that's
I can see how it maybe takes away from the character's accomplishments, where a character goes through all these trials and tribulations and then becomes respected and all of these things, and becomes basically a leader and brings hope to people. And then it's like, oh, well, actually, he's the long-lost king. It was kind of destined, and you get kingship based on just your bloodline, rather than, like, he's the chosen.
It's a bit like Stardust by Neil Gaiman, isn't it? Although I really love the film, it still does that, doesn't it? Like, at the end, he's been through so much, but is he meant to be the king? You know,
exactly.
Just because of his bloodline, he's that's very lucky that he's the king. What a result.
That's what I mean, because you want relatability with the characters, don't you? You want them to feel human, and when it's especially annoying to me, like I loved when I was younger the series The Belgariad by David Eddings, and you go through like a few books of just really feeling like you're engaged with this main character. You feel like I could be him. He's a young boy around my age, and then suddenly he's the long lost king, and he's not relatable anymore because it was all destined, and he's got this whole lineage behind him.
You know, I will say, I think the caveat to the long-lost king trope would be if the story actually kind of tells you early on that's the long-lost king and puts the immense stress. And the character, like, feels the weight of the responsibility, and that's kind of their struggle through the story. Yeah,
like Aragorn. That's brilliant, because you know the entire time his aim is that he is going to return and be the king. But the difference is because he knows that, and it's kind of, as he said, it weighs heavily on him, and it comes a lot into the character and their growth from the very beginning. Yeah, it's not like coming out of nowhere. Yeah,
like I would actually say the Dragonbone chair. The God,
Tad Williams.
Tad Williams. Yeah, Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn.
But
yeah. Oh, the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn.
Yeah.
Series. Spoilers, I guess. By the way,
big spoilers or small?
Small. Skip 30 seconds in the video. It's actually big spoilers.
Okay.
I will hold my ears.
30 seconds.
we will just erase that from my memories, but it's fine. And anyone who's watching can as well.
The brothers too. They might not have read it.
You're just assuming they read.
No, I've read it, but Ed hasn't. But
so I've spoiled enough things for Will. So I guess this has come up, and
I won't say what in case someone be really upset. But
I'll just stop there.
Yeah. So don't skip the video. Stay, we're fine.
Ed read Dune, and he said to me, "Oh, it's great, but it was a lot worse because there's a spoiler in the blurb, so don't read it." And then he told me what that spoiler was. And I just stared at him like, right. And then he realised, he's like, oh,
Well, I'll kind of just ruin that then. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry.
That story was...
But you just gave up on the spoiler there. Yeah, just forget it. It's fine.
It's all right. Anyway, Tad Williams. Yeah, Tad Williams, great.
Yeah.
But yes, the whole lost royalty trope. I'm agreeing with everything here, especially when you kind of find out later on, and I guess it kind of jumps over the obstacle in the conflict and makes the conflict easier. That's when it seems to be done poorly.
Yeah.
Is it gets them over... It doesn't seem like it goes over their own fruition.
If they find out they're king after they went through the struggles of their character arc and their story, then becoming king is just like, it's like the cherry on top, but it's not really that significant to their character.
Yeah, I've never been like, yes, I've never been really... a king. Yes. And I was going to actually choose a different trope. I was going to choose insta love, but then I'm reading.
Is this you slyly trying to choose two?
No. I'm actually going to tell a story here, and trust me. And but I'm currently listening to an indie published series by Rob J. Hayes. And he uses this, but in a way where it actually plays into the magic system in the world, which was really good. And so I was like, okay, I'll put that as my second least, because it can still be done well.
Yeah, I agree with Insta Love was also on my list as well of backups, and I stopped myself because I've read a couple stories now of where I'm like, I didn't mind that. It was done well. I guess the really bad tropes all tropes can be done well, but the bad tropes are the ones you see done poorly a lot, I guess.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, at its best, it's okay.
Yeah, because I think, like with the Fellowship one, obviously, it's not done brilliantly every time, but when it's not done brilliantly, it's not the kind of main detracting feature of a book, is it? Whereas I think with these tropes, maybe we're all talking about now, if they're done poorly, then it's something that really sticks out and bugs you.
And it's never the selling point, isn't it? You're never like, I love this book because it had insta-love. It was so good. Whereas I would say I love this book because it had a veteran, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, totally. And now, Richard, it's your turn to tell the audience, what is your least favorite trope? And I do know what it is, but I can't wait to hear it.
Oh my God. It bothers me now way too many times. It's the trope of, in a story, if you are explaining the plan, if you're talking about, like, the characters go, okay, here's the plan, and they go over the details of the plan, you immediately know that the plan is going to fail. And then if they have, like, okay, here's the plan, and then the end chapter, and the next chapter is, like, them starting the thing, then you know, something unexpected is going to happen, but that's going to be part of the plan, and the plan's going to succeed. So it ruins it every time for me. I notice it every time now. That when, like, they go, okay, here's the plan, end chapter, I'm going to go, okay, so the plan works.
Yeah.
The plan succeeds. It happens every time. I don't know how you write around that. How do you subvert that?
Yeah.
I have no idea, but it happens every
time. Don't make a plan.
And that trope bothers me.
The best way of doing it is how Joe Abercrombie, they've come up with a plan of, I think, attacking a group that are in the wild, but then the leader forgets to tell them what the sign to start the plan is it?
Yeah.
So then the character's wondering the whole time. He's like, but when do I
actually start?
Yeah. So then the whole time, and then that's how you do it well, in my opinion.
But then it's hard to do that 7 times in a book, isn't it?
But
he does it brilliantly then.
Yeah.
But I think the real key to it is you do it multiple different ways throughout the story. So you have it where they explain the plan, and then the plan succeeds. And, hey, this is a winning moment. Then they explain the plan, and the plan doesn't succeed, or they don't explain it, and it also doesn't fit. So you have to play around with it. You have to not do it the same every time.
Yeah,
and that will kind of like trick you.
I do really see what you mean, though.
Part,
yeah, definitely.
I've seen way too many times where the story goes, all right, here's the plan, and that's the last line of the chapter. And I was like, oh, okay. ...
Yeah,
that's my least favorite trope.
I think you might have ruined probably 10 of the next 30 books I'm going to read, because it's going to say that, and then I'm going to be like, well, actually, this plan works, and it's really going to jump out at me.
It does happen. It's a big movie thing too.
Oh, yeah.
You always see the cut to black. You see, and yeah. I'll leave it at that for because I haven't read two.
Oh, I could spoil so many books that way. I could just name several books where that happens over and over.
And say the plan works.
So that's your least favorite ever. It's one of the worst.
Yeah, for some reason, it just grates me the wrong way.
Yeah, it's ones that are like aggravating, even if you think it shouldn't actually annoy me this much.
Yeah.
That I find are the ones that will
ruin
spring
your
into
day.
mind.
Yeah.
That I will linger on and it will ruin my mood for weeks to come.
Oh, man.
Food will taste worse. Drink won't taste of anything because I'll be thinking of that trope.
So we've got now, just to summarize, we've Ed had the Mary Sue, Will had Lost Royalty, and you have the plan. The plan it's never subverted. I've got one that I think the brothers might actually disagree with. We'll see. I'm prefacing it so you'd be nicer to me when I say this. So I will. There was a couple that could have made it. Mary Sue was one of them. You stole it. Insta Love, you already mentioned it. So those didn't make it. The one that did, and when I see this done poorly, I hate it so much that it's my worst. It's my least favorite ever. It's and I will caveat this afterwards, but it's the
Stop teasing us, man.
Listen. I'm getting that retention up. So listen, get down in your seats, lean into the microphone, or not microphone. You're listening, so audio, whatever, your headphones. Okay. I can't kill the bad guys trope. The trope, and okay, Batman aside, forget Batman for a second. But it's so Batman. It's just for a second, forget Batman because it's done well sometimes, it's done poorly. But the trope of I'm the hero and I can't kill the bad guys because I'm as bad as they are, kind of trope, can be done well. It can, mind you, it can, but it's done awfully several times. Several times I've seen it, and it's so frustrating. One, because a lot of the times you'll see this person destroy a bunch of henchmen that don't matter, and then comes to the big bad villain. It's like, no, I'll be worse than them. What? You just killed Steve and Jimmy, and you killed everybody, but now when it's the actual worst guy, you won't get... So it's the worst. I hate it so much. And then sometimes it is done... And when it is done to the extreme of I won't kill anybody, right? You don't even kill the henchman, you won't kill the villain either. It's sometimes really frustrating because you don't understand why as much. It's really tough to get you into a character's point of view of ultra pacifist.
Yeah,
like ultra to the point of you won't defend yourself pacifist. That's what I like. The extreme. Mind you, maybe there's caveats out there, but generally speaking, it's really hard for me to connect to a character. And there's one in Stormlight. Actually, Stormlight's my favorite series ever. But there's also movies that do this. There's books that do this, and it's some of my least favorite stuff when I see it. It's just I want to grind my teeth.
I can feel your hatred. They're enslaving the human race. They're killing everyone. Just kill him, please. Just end him. Just do it.
It's time. He needs his comeuppance. Come on.
It's like that classic in a film. You'll see like the camera will just be like their sword is just above them for like 5-10 seconds. As they're looking into each other's souls, and then they put their sword down. They're stabbed in the back or something.
Oh, I hate it.
Yeah, no. I will say there's a couple times where it's done well. So Daredevil in particular, I think is done way better because it ties into his Catholicism. And it's done incredibly well. And
I haven't seen Daredevil, but I believe you. I've heard great things.
But then, the amount that he beats people up. Surely someone's died from some sort of concussion. They've gone to sleep or something, and maybe.
But it makes sense. There's at least good motivation there, and it's also hiding back. Like he wants to. He's fighting with himself of like, oh no, I want to kill him.
Yeah.
You can relate to him more.
Exactly.
It's the problem when you can't relate to the character's motivation there.
Yeah, and it's more of the character's like, I will not let the villain, change me. I'm not going to let you define me. So it's handled well.
Like Batman and Joker kind of situation.
Yeah.
I think less so with Batman and Joker to the point of like, there does come a point with it's like, just kill him.
Because he's killing so many people, Maybe when he's been to prison like the 12th time and then Joker's escaped again. It's like, it's time.
It's time.
I don't know why they get him in prison, and why doesn't just one cop go in there with a gun, shoot him, and go like, what are you going to do? Are you going to arrest me for shooting Joker in the head?
Yeah.
Really? What court? What court is ever going to
Well, now you just ruined Batman for me, so...
listen, don't try to take my least favorite trope for yourself here. Like, this is mine, and I will say, Batman. At least I understand. I still don't. I still would just say kill the Joker. That's just me. My friend, you know, I just say, hey, dude, he's killing someone. Just end it. But I understand the Batman. You get his backstory. At least you understand why he doesn't want the Joker to change him. Makes more sense. At least it's written. And I mean, there's so many variations of Batman. It depends on which one we're talking about. But generally speaking, it's one of the least grievous, the least sinful of the bad trope of the bad guys killing people of what I've seen. Yeah. But yeah.
And I think I like that in maybe the Batman trilogy, kind of the films that everyone thinks of, is there is a moment where he actually does kill someone. And so that build up of I won't kill him and then he does, it makes it very powerful. And I think it's an interesting trope, isn't it? Because I think sometimes I like it, but it can very easily be overdone. Like if it's throughout the entire book. But I think maybe if it's just at the beginning and you have that turning point pretty early on, it's all right. But I totally get what you mean, where they killed all the henchmen and then, oh, actually, because they're the boss, I can't kill them. It just makes no sense. Oh, because this person has committed more atrocities, it means I'm going to be more like them if I kill them. I should kill nicer people, and
you should get a medal for wiping out someone that does
exactly.
a lot of bad.
I know. It's just that's where it's just like, this is silly.
Jeremy can literally never see his children again. You killed 20 Jeremys, and you won't kill the big bad. It's the worst.
Yeah.
I agree with you. However, there's a few stories where that kind of ultra pacifism is actually shown in the light that it really should be, as being moronic, and there's real consequences to that kind of thing.
Sure.
And I really enjoy that, where you kind of see, like, yeah, they're ultra pacifist and they're supposed to be like, oh, they're really good. And then you see the negative consequences of them just being so pacifistic where they won't even defend themselves or their loved ones. And it's kind of horrific. And everyone in the story is kind of like, you guys are crazy.
Yeah.
You guys are nuts. And there's it at least makes sense. It's done poorly when that ultra pacifism is shown as a virtue.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it really comes from.
Yeah, because there's the two different philosophies. There we go. And you've got like Kantism, which is you won't commit any deed of any minute evil, even if it prevents great evil being done. Whereas being utilitarian, you will do something bad if it saves people or it helps more on the good. And it just feels like logically that's what you should be like, instead of, oh, if I let this person live, they may kill 10,000 people, but at least I didn't do something bad.
Well, I think that's really the thing, is death is not necessarily evil in and of itself. And murder certainly is.
Yeah.
But death, like self-defense, would not be murder.
Yeah.
There's plenty of cases. In all honesty, execution for, someone's done all these terrible things and they're brought in and they're executed. That's not murder.
Yeah.
Right? Like, at a certain point, you have forfeited, you as a human being can forfeit your right to life. Like, if you try and take someone else's life, you have now forfeited your right to live. And so, therefore, taking your life is no longer murder.
Yeah, well, it's like, if you think of every fantasy book, or 99%, the main protagonist has had to kill someone, but you're still meant to be rooting for them.
Yeah.
Again, for the greater good. For the greater good.
Greater good, yeah, exactly. It's the reasons behind it, isn't it?
And I will say, I'm backtracking like 2 minutes here when you couldn't say philosophy for a second. I was really going to make fun of you, and I remember you weren't Richard. And I was like, oh, I should probably hold my tongue. That's like more of a thing. I was so, it's just a knee-jerk reaction around this pod. I like to make fun of him on words. And it's just, I'm so sorry. It was just a thought. I had to say it. I felt comfortable enough to say it to you guys. So there you go.
Oh, that's fine. You know what?
I'll just do it later anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I've got it coming.
I've learned to do it off camera, so you don't beat the hell out of me.
So we have our animosity on camera.
Yeah,
it's all displayed.
That would give us our little edge on our YouTube.
Yeah. Well, we've actually had some comments on our channel that sometimes Ed will just randomly just kind of like punch me on the arm or something, or like pretend strangle me.
If I punched you, you'd know about it.
Yeah, or he'll like pretend strangle me, but then like throw me around the room, and then people are like, wait, this has been like 4 videos in a row. Like, what is going on? And so yeah, that bit I think is kind of, the longer the channel goes on, one. It's kind of the real Ed is being shown.
The more Cormac McCarthy you read, the more you start acting like one of his characters. Okay, it's fine.
You are being banned from any Cormac McCarthy.
Just to get back at him, every video you should show up with another painted on bruise on one of your arms. She's like, guys, it's been rough. The punches are getting worse.
In like the brand of like ED just on my forehead.
Okay, so we covered our 4 favorites, our 4 least favorites. Anyone watching, listening, let us know if you agree or disagree with those. But I also want to give the brothers a chance. We said this earlier in the video. Any books recently that you want to highlight that you really loved and want to tell our audience? And of course, let everybody know where they can find you at, and we'll conclude it with that. And before that, I want to say thank you very much for coming. This was awesome. But go ahead, take the floor. Thank you, Brothers Gwynne.
Oh, thank you so much. This has actually been just so awesome.
So much fun.
It's awesome to talk about kind of the aspects that make our favourite books great, and then maybe things that kept a book away from being one of our favourites. It's really interesting kind of diving into those kind of finer elements of a book, and yeah, absolutely love it, and it is an honour to be on here. Thank you so much for having us on, and now some recommendations.
Thank you guys. It's been so much fun. Do you want to kick off, Will?
Well, our channel, we talk about a lot of fantasy but a lot of historical fiction as well, and so the best amalgamation is of course historical fantasy, and it's not out yet, but it's coming out at the end of June, I believe. The Judas Blossom by Stephen Orion, and it is historical fantasy, and many of the perspectives are senior figures in the Mongol Empire, and it is absolutely brilliant, multi-POV, and that's often not what you see in historical fantasy, but it's done here. And Stephen Orion is usually just a pure fantasy author, so it's really interesting seeing him take a different dynamic, and it's done so well, and it's so immersive.
Yeah.
So I was just, this is another tangent. We could go on for another 20 minutes, but I know we got to end this. But I was just looking up some stuff on Marco Polo, and I didn't realize he overlapped with the Mongol Empire, Kublai Khan and all that. I'm just starting to get into some history stuff, because I think the more you learn about history, the more it will help with your fantasy reading, and if you're an aspiring author, and just general knowledge. It's just really cool, because a lot of fantasy stories get their inspirations from real events.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
I think a key element of storytelling is that immersion, isn't it? That willing suspense of disbelief. And so much of that is you can't get darker than history. So if you like grimdark, then you'll probably like historical fiction. Yeah. And yeah, basically any single story you'll see inspiration from real life.
I like that. It can't get darker than real history. That's
sadly, but yeah, it's true.
Yeah, all of Game of Thrones is taken from history, apart from the dragons. But yeah,
it's history. If dragons were,
don't crush my dreams.
And you don't know that, Ed. Maybe they did. Okay, there's Komodo dragons. So imagine what else there were.
True say.
Hey, the fact that almost every single culture, even separated by oceans, have some kind of actual depiction of dragons is curious. How does every culture who don't actually connect with each other have visual representation of dragons?
Also, the Earth is flat, right?
Let's just get that out of the way.
Thank you again, Brothers Gwynne. Let people know where they can find you if they don't already, and we'll end it with that.
Perfect. So we have a YouTube channel called The Brothers Gwynne. I'm called The Wolf and Crow over on Instagram. We are Edward Gwynne and William Gwynne over on Twitter, which, yeah, we weren't as creative with that name. But, yeah, so you basically type in Edward Gwynne or William Gwynne on any social medias and you'll find us there.
Or type in John Gwynne and then our
look up his sons.
Might pop up as well. Yeah.
That's how we're best known.
We'll have your channel in the description. We'll go check them out.
Cheers,
and
guys.
We'll see you all later. Make sure to catch us in the next one.
Thanks so much, guys.
Everybody.
Truth and courage. Truth and courage.